Hello everybody. If you want to read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. Short Story 615, The Great Biscuit Heist, Intermediate. Are you sure about this, Keith? Whispered Brenda, her voice a shaky imitation of a secret agent. She was crouched behind the sofa, clutching a feather duster like a weapon. Keith, her husband of 30 years, was meticulously applying a small amount of Marmite to his earlobe. Trust me, love. It's the only way. He surveyed the living room. The clock on the mantelpiece ticked ominously. It was 3 p.m. The time for the raid was nigh. But what if they catch us? Brenda's eyes darted towards the kitchen door. What if they've put up a new security system? Motion sensors? A laser grid? Keith scoffed, adjusting his monocle, a magnifying glass he taped to his spectacles. A laser grid? Brenda, they're 8 and 10. Their security is a pile of Lego bricks and a drawing of a scary monster. Our target remains the Biscuit Tin. The Biscuit Tin was a mythic object in the house, a forbidden treasure trove guarded by their 2 children, Lily and Sam. Every day, it was filled with Jamie Dodgers, digestives, and hobnobs, only to be emptied with ruthless efficiency before the parents could have a single one. Today, they would strike back. We go in on my signal, Keith said, crawling towards the kitchen. Brenda, you create a diversion. A classic feint. Something they cannot resist. Right. Got it. I'll sing the national anthem backwards. Perfect. Just don't hit the high notes. We need to be subtle. Keith reached the kitchen door. He peered through the gap. The coast was clear. Lily and Sam were engrossed in a cartoon in the next room, their backs to the kitchen. Now, Brenda! The diversion, he hissed. Brenda took a deep breath. Ym jeverzet neeg, nollevel jeverzet. She began, her voice a low, guttural murmur. Keith slipped into the kitchen. The biscuit tin sat on the counter, gleaming in the afternoon sun. He reached for it, his hand trembling with anticipation. Suddenly, a small voice from behind him said, "What you doing, Dad?" Keith froze. He slowly turned to see Lily and Sam standing there, arms crossed, their expressions a mix of confusion and pure, unadulterated judgment. I was just checking for crumbs, darling, Keith stammered, awkwardly patting the lid of the tin. Brenda rushed in, still singing her backwards anthem. Jeverzet neeg, nollevel ym. She trailed off, seeing the children and the look on Keith's face. Mom, why are you singing in reverse? Sam asked, his voice filled with suspicion. Brenda straightened up, clearing her throat. It's a new exercise. For the brain. Very good for you. You should try it. Lily pointed at Keith's ear. What's that on your ear, Dad? Is that Marmite? Keith's face turned bright red. He quickly wiped his earlobe. It's a new kind of hearing aid. Made of yeast extract. Very advanced. The children stared, unimpressed. Sam walked over to the biscuit tin and picked it up. We ate all the biscuits, by the way, he said, shaking the empty tin. Half an hour ago. Brenda slumped against the kitchen counter. Keith took off his magnifying glass monocle. Their grand plan, their daring heist, had been for nothing. Right then, Keith sighed, defeated. Who fancies going to the shop for some more biscuits? Both children instantly cheered. Me! Me here, they shouted, their previous suspicion forgotten. As they left, a triumphant Sam gave a small, almost imperceptible salute to his sister. The masterminds of the Biscuit Tin, a flawless operation, had won again. Vocabulary notes. Heist. Meaning, a heist is a noun that means a robbery, specifically a planned or organized one. It's often used for a large, dramatic theft of something valuable, like money or jewels, but in the story, it's used humorously for stealing biscuits. Example from the story, The Great Biscuit Heist is the title of the story, setting up the humorous idea of a serious crime being committed to get biscuits. Similar words: robbery, caper, raid, sting, burglary. Ominously. Meaning, an adverb used to describe something that seems to suggest something bad or unpleasant is going to happen. It creates a sense of foreboding or suspense. Example from the story, the clock on the mantelpiece ticked ominously. This makes the simple passing of time seem tense and important, as if something big is about to happen. Similar words: threateningly, menacingly, warningly, darkly, grimly. Meticulously. Meaning, an adverb that means to do something with great attention to detail. It suggests a very careful and precise action. Example from the story, Keith, her husband of 30 years, was meticulously applying a small amount of Marmite to his earlobe. The word highlights how serious and careful Keith is about his absurd plan, making it funnier. Similar words: carefully, precisely, painstakingly, thoroughly, rigorously. Feint. Meaning, a feint is a noun for a deceptive or pretend move, usually in sports or a fight, designed to mislead an opponent. Example from the story, Brenda, you create a diversion. A classic feint. Keith is telling Brenda to do something distracting to trick the children so he can get the biscuits without them noticing. Similar words: diversion, ruse, ploy, trick, decoy. Defeated. Meaning, an adjective describing someone who has been beaten in a battle, contest, or challenge. It shows a feeling of being overcome or giving up. Example from the story, Keith sighed, defeated. This happens after he finds out the biscuit tin is empty. He has lost the battles against his children and their superior planning. Similar words: beaten, conquered, vanquished, discouraged, disheartened. Story written by Gemini Pro AA. Image created by Amagix AA. To read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. CC Music, drifting at 432 Hz, unicorn heads.
All right, let's dive in. Today, we're taking a look at a fantastic little story called The Great Biscuit Heist. But we're not just going to read it. Oh no, we're going to pull it apart piece by piece and really figure out what makes it so funny. We're talking language, characters, and a plan that's, well, let's just say it's perfectly flawed. You ready? Let's do this.
Okay, so right off the bat, we're thrown right into the middle of things. No messing around. Are you sure about this, Keith? I mean, you can just feel the tension, right? But it's also immediately hilarious. Brenda is so not a secret agent, but she's giving it her all. And that shaky imitation says it all, doesn't it? We know exactly what we're in for. A super low-stakes, super funny spy movie parody.
So what's this all about? What's the big mission? Well, it's a classic. A tale as old as time, really. It's the parents versus the biscuit tin. Let's break down who's who in this little household drama.
Okay, so our agents, our heroes, are Keith and Brenda. You can tell they're just done. They've had it. And who are they up against? The guards, their own kids. Lily and Sam, who are described as ruthless security, which is just perfect. The prize, the target, is of course the legendary biscuit tin. And the whole problem, and I think we can all relate to this, is that the kids demolish the tin every single day before the parents can even get one. Well, not today. Today is the day they fight back.
Right, you can't have a heist without a plan, can you? And Keith, our brilliant mastermind, has cooked up something special. It's so detailed, so meticulously thought out, and at the same time, it's completely, wonderfully bonkers. Let's take a look at the anatomy of this flawed masterpiece.
This is where it gets really good. What makes it so funny is how seriously they're taking all of this. Step 1. The advanced hearing aid is literally just Marmite on his earlobe. Marmite. And the diversionary tactic for Step 2, Brenda is going to sing the national anthem backwards. I mean, come on. It's a plan so crazy you almost think it has to work. But yeah, probably not.
Okay, the stage is set, the agents are in place, the operation is officially a go. But you know how this works, right? If you've ever seen a heist movie, you know this is the exact moment where the best-laid plans meet reality hard.
So picture this. Keith's at the kitchen door. The target is in sight. In the other room, Brenda started her, let's call it a unique backwards version of the anthem. The kids seem distracted. It actually looks like it's working. I mean, what could possibly go wrong from here?
And there it is. 4 little words. The 4 words that will stop any sneaky parent plan dead in its tracks. He's been made. Caught red-handed by the very people he was trying to outsmart. Mission is a definite no-go.
Yeah, this really sums up the whole glorious mess, doesn't it? The grand plan for a stealthy infiltration? Nope, they got caught by the kids. The masterful diversion. Let's be real, it was just some weird backwards singing. And the grand prize? The bounty of biscuits? Yeah, the tin was totally empty. A complete and utter failure.
Okay, so we all agree the story is funny. But why? What makes it work so well? This is where we're going to switch gears a little bit. We're going to go from just enjoying the story to really analyzing it. Let's look at the specific words that turn this simple idea into such a great comedy.
First up, let's talk about the word right there in the title, heist. When you hear the word heist, what do you think of? You know, high stakes, diamonds, lasers, complex plans, real danger, right? Well, here's the trick. The author takes that really serious, dramatic word and applies it to getting biscuits out of a tin. And that contrast, that huge gap between the word heist and the silly situation, that's where the comedy comes from. It's brilliant. All right, next word, ominously. This is a great one. It's all about creating that feeling of suspense, you know? Like something bad is just about to happen. But what's actually happening in the story? A clock is ticking. That's it. By calling it ominous, the writer makes a totally normal household noise sound like the countdown to doomsday. It's a perfect example of comedic exaggeration.
Okay, how about this one? Meticulously. You know, when you do something meticulously, you're doing it with incredible care. Like every single tiny detail is the most important thing in the world.
And this is just chef's kiss. Keith isn't just, wiping Marmite on his ear. He's applying it meticulously. Using that word shows just how seriously he's taking this completely ridiculous plan. And it just makes the whole thing so much funnier. Next up, a word that sounds like it comes straight out of a military strategy meeting, feint. A feint is basically a fake-out, a move you make just to trick your opponent.
And here we go again with the contrast. Keith uses this serious, tactical word to describe Brenda singing backwards. Calling that a classic feint is just hilarious. It makes their silly little scheme sound like a professional Black Ops mission.
And for our last word, let's look at defeated. We all know this feeling, right? It's when you've lost. The fight is over, you've been beaten, and you just have to give up. This one word just perfectly signals the end of the whole thing. It officially calls this silly mission a battle that Keith has well and truly lost. The Great Biscuit War is over. The parents have been vanquished.
But wait, there's one last twist. Because while Keith and Brenda were fumbling around with their crazy, detailed plan, the real masterminds were already at work, with a plan that was much, much simpler and way more effective.
And here it is, the final punchline. Their entire elaborate plan was pointless from the very beginning. The Marmite, the singing, all the sneaking around, it was for nothing. Why? Because the biscuits were already gone.
This last little detail just seals the deal. That little salute between Sam and his sister tells you everything. They were the ones in control the whole time. Their plan was flawless because it was dead simple. They wanted biscuits, they ate the biscuits, end of story. Game over.
And that really leaves us with the central question of the whole story, doesn't it? What's a better plan? The super complicated, detailed strategy? Or just, getting there first and eating the biscuits? Something to think about. Thanks so much for joining me for this one.